Mhm. So welcome everyone to our Gita Gyan day 19. This is a supplementary session. So this is just an additional session where we can record. Basically, we are trying to understand the Bhagavad Gita from a overall perspective, a bird's eye view. And after that, we'll have a bit of sharing and all that, and a bit of announcements also on level 2 and some seva opportunities. So we dedicate this presentation to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So join me in this prayer. You can follow the wordings here. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam. Oh, sorry. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Sri Sri Jagannath Baladev Subhadramaya Sri Sri Nitai Sundar Gaura Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vigna Vinasha Narasimhaiti Namine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langaitim Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Mishwaram Om Tat Sat. So I just thought I'd like to show you this picture. This is the Temple of Gold, Palace of Gold. It's a temple in West Virginia in the US. So it's and it has very beautiful temple, and it's also connected to a farmland. And these are the deities in this temple. These are Gauranitai, and this is Kalachandji, and then we have Sri Sri Radha Vrindavan Chandra. So this is very beautiful deities, life-size deities, and taking their blessings as well before we continue. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we have completed 18 days with 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. So right now we will just go through them again very quickly, so that we have gone through each chapter wise. So sometimes the perspective which we will get when we go through them verse by verse, studying in detail. Sometimes, in our temple, we give an entire class just on one verse. So that's like taking, every Sunday we have Bhagavad Gita class. They speak on one verse. And then in that way, from that, it goes on many months until the entire Bhagavad Gita is completed. So the perspective is different. And then giving Gita discourse by chapter, like how we have been doing. Normally, it would take about 3 hours to go through in detail, basically. but we have tried our best to bring it to 1.5 hours. And I think we've covered most of the essential points. It may have gone a bit fast, but the advantage here is we have recording. So you could always go back and slow down the places, rehear it again. And in this way, we could still try to understand the main points that we are presenting. And so today, another perspective is to, within 1.5 hours, to speak about the entire Bhagavad Gita, all the other chapters, all together. So that will give us a different perspective of how to view the goal of Krishna, how Krishna arranged each point accordingly. So I thought it would be useful. So that's why I'm doing this one extra supplementary session. So Bhagavad Gita, the first 6 chapters, we began with Arjuna Vishada Yoga, where Arjuna was put into lamentation and he was put into illusion. So here we gave the background of the Mahabharata war and who are the main characters, and then a bit of a history about why this war took place. And then we spoke about how Arjuna, he wanted to come and see who all have come to assemble to fight. And then Krishna takes that as an excuse to put him into illusion. And in this way, Arjuna refuses to fight. And he gives all reasons, many reasons. And from when Arjuna is put into illusion, then we can see his even though in illusion, what comes out of him is only compassion. So we can see the saintly quality of Arjuna. So to understand Bhagavad Gita, right? So Krishna is indicating in one way that one have to come to the mode of goodness. So then one can thoroughly understand the Bhagavad Gita. So, but still, nevertheless, there is benefit even in every level. So, but maximum benefit is derived when one approaches the Bhagavad Gita from the perspective of a devotee. So that's why Arjuna is selected as the recipient of the Bhagavad Gita, because he's already a devotee of Krishna. So so in that way, one can derive maximum benefit of the Bhagavad Gita. So how can we all also derive, if we are situated in different situations? We can begin the process of becoming a devotee of the Lord by chanting the holy names of the Lord. And in this way, we can also, as we chant more, as we hear more, as we chant the names of Krishna, Krishna will reveal the purports of the Gita. He will remove the doubts. He will remove and you will suddenly find, oh, okay, we may have a certain doubt. Suddenly an answer may just come to us. Okay, this could be the reason. This is the reason. And then we can verify it with others. And in this way, we can develop further and further understanding of the Gita. So after Arjuna, so he shows his compassion. He says, I don't want to fight. So he shows empathy. So, and in this way, Krishna takes this opportunity to open up the entire Vedanta, all the Vedic scriptures, all the essence of the Vedic scriptures is captured within the Bhagavad Gita. So therefore, it's called Gita Upanishad. So there are so many thousands and thousands of verses in the Vedic scriptures, and all of that contracted into Bhagavad Gita. So, and that Bhagavad Gita itself, we are contracting it in this 18-day course. So it's the book for us to study. So this is basically a journey. Krishna takes us on a journey of self-discovery, not only the self, of understanding who is the goal of the self, what is the ultimate purpose of life. So many questions I raised in the beginning, questions such as, who am I? Why am I here in this world? Why am I suffering in this world? Why is happiness and distress coming, or why is distress coming when we don't even ask for it, right? And what's my goal? What should I do in this life? And these are some of the points which I raised. What's the difference between ourselves and animals? So in this way, some points were raised. And hopefully, after going through the 18 chapters, these answers should be within our understanding. If it's not, we can always explore them further in level 2, or you can also ask me. We can discuss. So each time we will raise questions at the end of the session. So if there is something that we don't understand, we should not just be silent. If you are not in agreeing with it, so then raise your doubts, raise these points, and we can discuss it. And then hopefully we can clear these doubts so that we can derive maximum benefit of this course. All right, so from here, we are taking a journey. Now, the first 6 chapters, whenever we want to take a journey, we are entering into the unknown waters or unknown space. So we will need to have a direction, isn't it? Like, there's a story, once Alice went to Wonderland, right? And then, the popular story. So Alice went to Wonderland, and then when Alice first entered this amazing, strange world, she met a person. And then she asked this person, can you tell me which way to go? There were many paths. And then the person asked Alice in return, where do you want to go? And then Alice said, I do not know. I'm not sure where I want to go. Then the man replied, well, then it doesn't matter which direction you take, does it? So that's the thing. So in this way, we need to know where to go. There is so many different directions, 360 degrees in 2 dimensions, and you include the 3rd dimension. So many directions we can go. So we need to know where. So therefore, in the first 6 chapters, Krishna establishes a clear direction of where we need to go. So it's like a compass. This first 3 chapters is like a compass to give us direction. Okay, we're going on a journey, all right, but where are we going? Which direction? How long will it take? What's the terms of the journey? So all this is defined in the first 6 chapters. So let's look at them. So basically, from the first chapter onwards, Arjuna doesn't want to fight. So then he gets confused. What is real? What is wrong? What is right? What should I do? I'm going through this misery now. I do not know what is right, what is wrong. So we all have these situations in our life. We have all gone through difficult situations where we do not know what is the best path. So at this time, the best thing to do is to seek out a teacher, seek out a person who is able to guide, to give direction. So for Arjuna is very fortunate because he has Lord Krishna himself directly, and he takes shelter of him. So this is the quality. If one is sincere and one is serious to know the truths, right, one will ask the necessary questions. So, even in the Bible, it says, seek and ye shall find. So most people don't seek. So when we seek, the Lord will arrange for answers to come. So that is the point. And Arjuna surrenders to this person, Krishna, and he questions him. And Krishna takes this opportunity once this role is switched. Krishna takes this opportunity. He begins the unraveling of illusion. The first thing to do in unraveling illusion is to establish our real position. So therefore, he tells us, you are in illusion. You do not know that you are not this body. You are actually Atma, spirit, soul. So that is clearly established. So, but before he goes to Sankhya Yoga, before he talks about the soul itself, he starts telling Arjuna, do your duty. You think you are sinful if you do your duty? You think if you were to fight in this war, you would be doing sin? No, actually, if you don't do your duty, only you are going to be sinful. So he tells that, and then he goes on to talk about the soul. He establishes, actually, do you know, you are not related to these people. You are staying out of family members and everything. I'm going to kill this person and everything. But do you know that you are the soul, spirit soul? And you have taken this birth as a Kshatriya. And as a Kshatriya, you have a duty to perform. You need to uphold Dharma. So you cannot use any excuse to not do your duty. So that will be sin. So after establishing this, he talks about the position of the soul. And then he goes on to explain further about this duty. What is this duty? So therefore we have karma yoga. So the art of working without sinning. So Krishna tells Arjuna, do your duty, but there is a way where you can do your duty without getting trapped. So he starts to reveal a higher purpose. So life is not just about doing duty. That is one way to be free of sin. But nevertheless, in every living situation, it's impossible to be free of sin, even if one does one's duty. Because, everywhere we are walking, we are stepping on animals, we are stepping on insects, they are dying, something we do somewhere. So that's where Mahabharata shows that. Even Bhishma, so expert in so many things, he got confused at one point. So like that, even Dronacharya, great Brahmana, they try to do their duty, so they get confused also. So it's not easy. The situation can be very complex. So therefore, that is even something higher than duty. So, and this duty leads to this. So therefore, Krishna reveals about the nature of the soul and how the soul takes repeated cycle of birth and death. It goes to so many different cycles. This is not our only birth. We have taken birth so many times. And we are going to continue to take birth so many times. So if anybody says, no, this is my last birth and all that, it is not according to the Gita. It's not according to the conclusion of the scriptures. It continues. The only way one gets to break from this cycle of birth and death, Krishna will reveal later what is that only way. So, art of working without sinning, there is a higher purpose in life. And then Krishna talks about how one can work without getting any reactions, whether good reactions or bad reactions. So this is called yoga. So it begins with karma yoga, where one dedicates everything simply for the sake of duty. They don't do it for their own sense gratification or for their own fruitive results. And that becomes this foundation of equipoise duty, to balance our duty. This is yoga, beginning with karma yoga. And this is the foundation, together with the understanding of the soul and together with this balancing of duty, understanding the aspect of karma very nicely. This is the foundation for us to develop knowledge, to get elevated to become qualified to receive transcendental knowledge. So this transcendental knowledge is jnana. So when one is situated in a equipoised mode, when one is able to be balanced in his thinking, this transcendental knowledge sits very well. It's conducive for that person to understand it. It's natural. A person who is very busy in life, busy with work, busy with things, busy with situations, it's not going to be easy for them to understand this higher transcendental knowledge unless one is able to either start with bhakti or start with karma yoga. So to begin with karma yoga, it is harder. To come to the level of being equipoised and then understand this transcendental knowledge is going to take some time. But it is easier, far easier, if one can begin the process of bhakti, then automatically this transcendental knowledge will come and it will be able to sit well in our consciousness. We will be able to understand it well. So it's not like material knowledge. It's not like we pay some money, we go for a course, at the end of this course, we'll get a degree, and then that's it. So it's not like that. Spiritual knowledge doesn't work that way. It has to come through mercy. It has to come through purification. So the information is there, the books are there, but the understanding and the faith will develop only when the practical aspect is put into place. And as we practice, we are ready for more. Then the higher knowledge will come further. And as we practice more, it will come. So remember, once I posted something, life gives you more only when one is ready. So therefore, unless we are ready, so we cannot digest further. So therefore, take up bhakti. When everybody takes up bhakti, when we begin chanting the names of the Lord seriously, we will find that these points become far easier to digest. it becomes easier to understand by the grace of the Lord. So the Lord becomes pleased by this execution of bhakti, and it becomes easier for us to understand. So that is the secret. So that's why it is called confidential. So jnana, foundation, elevates one to know, but here he's setting the goal. So he's starting with each of these yoga, Sankhya, Karma, Jnana. But at the end of each of it, he talks a bit about bhakti. He will say, but you know, better you do this. Because in Karma Yoga, he'll say, perform your duty, equipoise, Arjuna, without expecting any returns. Okay? And do it for the sake of duty. But towards the end of it, he will tell Arjuna, but you know, do it for me. Don't worry about everything else. Just do it for me. So just doing for Krishna, dedicating it for the Lord, brings this person through the bhakti path very easily. One is able to advance. So in the same way, jnana yoga, it prepares this to understand what is ultimate knowledge, what is the purpose of life, what is this knowledge all about. So that is through renunciation. So from here, in jnana yoga, in jnana yoga, Krishna reveals the goal. He begins to reveal about his position. What is his position? He is the ultimate goal of everything. There he says, right? Janma karma chami divyam. So one who knows my transcendental birth and activities, he doesn't take birth again. He gives the solution of how to end this cycle of birth and death. So therefore, that is jnana. And he talks a bit more further about this. And this knowledge gives the basis of true renunciation. It's only once we understand this knowledge of the goal of life and what is the ultimate aspect of it and what's the process of attaining this goal, then one realizes this, then one develops true renunciation. Otherwise, before this, it will only be pretense. We are trying, but it's not true renunciation. So from karma, jnana, and then from jnana, this is called buddhi yoga, the knowledge of the yoga of intelligence. Knowledge is one thing, but one needs intelligence to process this knowledge and apply this knowledge. So therefore, Krishna will tell, after you receive this knowledge about the soul, about the goal of life, about this transmigration, so Krishna will say there are two paths. One path is the jnana path, which is the slow path, which is to go step by step. And the other path is the bhakti path. So if you are intelligent, therefore take the bhakti path, Krishna recommends to Arjuna. So intelligence is the foundation of bhakti. It takes up the buddhi path. And then Krishna, before he goes to bhakti, he wants to complete the jnana path ladder. So he talks about dhyana yoga. From jnana, the higher life, one doesn't want to take the path of intelligence and go to bhakti, then one goes straight to dhyana yoga, meditation. Even more difficult to do. So we've heard about how meditation, the Ashtanga yoga, the 8 paths, 8 limbs, about how we should do's and don'ts, and then how one should sit in posture, then how one should concentrate, how one should control their pranayam. So in this way, come to the level of meditation. And all for what? Only to understand that at the end, the root of this entire universe is the Supreme Lord. So this is called the research process. Searching and searching and searching. And then finally realizing the root of everything is the Supreme Lord, Paramatma. And then he switches to bhakti. So that is dhyana. So all of this is basically searching for that goal, searching for the ultimate point. So therefore, it's like a compass. So, giving us direction about the goal of life. So jnana path ends at dhyana and paramatma, as I mentioned. And then here the realization is bhakti yogi is the topmost. Chapter 6, it will say, yoginam api sarvesham madkatinantara atmanaha. Amongst all yogis, I am the one who is always intimately who's thinking of me and I'm thinking of him. So that person is the highest yogi, Krishna would say in chapter 6. So therefore, this is just to point out to Arjuna, this is the goal. Ultimate goal is to attain me, Krishna. And the best path here is to take up bhakti. But there is also the other path. There is another path. So this jnana path is also there for everybody else. But because you are my devotee, I'm recommending you to take the easier path. And Krishna gives many hints from chapters 1, 2 to 6 about how the bhakti path is easier. But hints only, he doesn't go into detail. So once this understanding is received, bhakti and Bhagavan realization as the last word in transcendence. So Bhagavan is the last word in transcendence. Bhakti is the preferred path. So now, not only we have the map, we have the basis for us to build a ship. So this is basically what chapters 7 to 12 all about. It's basically building that ship so that we can now embark on this voyage. So the direction has been set by chapters 1 to 6, and chapters 7 to 12 will give the details of the ship, will build the skeleton, the bones, the flesh, the entire parts of the ship. So in this way, we can cross over this material ocean. How can we cross over this ocean? So remember, I've said the transcendental knowledge is like a boat. So chapters 7 to 12 reveals this boat in full. So by understanding this chapter 7 to 12, we can sit on this boat and it will bring us across this ocean. So that's one way of looking at it. So this, as I mentioned before also in chapter 13, I've said that another way of looking at it is also that the chapters 1 to 6 is like the chest where the treasure is kept. So this is keeping everything. So it's like a foundation, and it creates the constraint to keep the chest, to keep the treasure inside, so that the treasure doesn't fall off, that it is kept nicely. But chapter 7 to 12 is actually the precious content of this chest. So this is the real goal of the Bhagavad Gita, 7 to 12. So, and we can see here chapter 7, the title is Jnana Vijnana Yoga. So this is better than Jnana. This is realized transcendental knowledge, Vijnana Jnana. So we have realized this knowledge here and we are now practically doing something about it. So therefore, bhakti, all of this 7 to 12 is all about bhakti. And Krishna reveals the point of bhakti by speaking more about himself. So chapter 4, he began to reveal himself. Chapter 7, he speaks about himself in full. So, and in here, there is no doubt about Krishna's position and what is actually the Supreme. So the Supreme can be realized in 3 goals, Brahman realization, Paramatma realization, and Bhagavan realization. So here he clearly shows that ultimate goal. So our goal of life is basically to attain this Bhagavan realization. So that is the purpose of human life. And by attaining this, one can break this cycle of birth and death. So then how to attain? So we have got this goal clear, right? But how do we attain that supreme goal, Bhagavan? So therefore, chapter 8, Akshara Brahma Yoga, attaining the supreme. This is chapter 8's topic, how to attain. So he tells the key here is at the time of death. So the time of death is very important. So whatever one remembers at the time of death, one attains it. So therefore, always remember me constantly. In this way, surely at the time of death, you will also remember me. And when you remember me at the time of death, you will attain me without fail. And then Krishna talks about the 2 paths, the jnana and the bhakti path. How the jnana path, everything has to be arranged carefully, according to the sun, according to the moon, according to various situations, muhurta and all that. But in bhakti, no need to worry. We directly surrender to the Lord. Our business is only to engage ourselves in bhakti yoga, and Krishna will take care of the rest. So he gives many assurances. He says, right, Mayam etam tarantite. So this Maya energy, which is very difficult to overcome, But if you take shelter of me by the process of bhakti, very easily you can cross over this ocean of material existence by my grace. So the Lord does the work for us. We don't have to work hard. We want to climb on top of the mountain. We don't have to climb it ourselves. We simply have to sit on the cable car of Garuda, and that is sufficient for us to reach. Okay, so that is chapter 8. And then in chapter 9, so understanding this attainment of the Supreme, now then the question would say, who are those people who can attain the Bhagavan? Okay, remembering the Lord is at the time of death is the way to attain the Bhagavan realization. So, but then the question comes, who are these people who can attain Bhagavan realization? And here Krishna reveals it is the bhaktas, the devotees of the Lord. So when we say bhakta, that means there is also Supreme Lord. So Bhagavan revealed fully as Krishna. So what he began in chapter 4, chapter 2, a very small hint given. Chapter 4, a few more verses hinting about his position. Chapter 7, more verses clearly defining his situation. You know, he will say verses like how all the everything rests upon me, just like pearls strung on a thread. Right? These kind of verses he will say in chapter 7. But in chapter 9, no holds barred. He will begin revealing his ultimate position as the Supreme, the Lord of everything, and how every single element of this material creation, even the spiritual creation, all the energies, they all revolve around him. So Bhagavan revealed fully as Krishna, and the bhaktas, devotees who worship the Supreme Lord and perform devotional service to him, they are the ones who can attain the Bhagavan's goal. Very easily they can remember the Lord because naturally they are following devotional service. And then after that, trying to understand Bhagavan Krishna and ways to remember him, this is explained further. How can one remember him? So Arjuna is asking, can you help me to remember you? I'm trying to follow, I'm a bhakta, okay, I'm following this bhakti. So can you help me to remember? Then the Lord gives his chapter 10, Vibhuti Yoga. He tells Arjuna, it's actually not very difficult to remember me because everywhere you see anything which is beautiful and wonderful and great, anything which is outstanding. So everything is simply a spark and a part and parcel of my splendor, Vibhuti, right? Tejo Amsa Sambhavan. All of this is simply a part of my tejas. So in this way, they are, you can understand and you can see me in everywhere. So this is to help to develop that vision in which we can see the Lord everywhere. So therefore, Krishna reveals the Vibhuti Yoga. So here it is another aspect which clearly defines the supreme position of the Lord. And Arjuna is already convinced at this point. So now he's already accepted the Supreme Lord. He reveals, my illusion is gone. I'm clear. Everything is it's revealed to me. You are the Supreme. I can accept you, and I will definitely follow this process that you are outlining. But for the benefit of others, because he was thinking others may doubt. So therefore, he is asking Krishna, can you show me that material form which you enter into material creation, that universal form, Vishwarupa? So then Krishna will give divine vision to Arjuna, in which Arjuna can see the Lord sitting in one position, the entire universe, all material creations, all elements, all 24 elements, as well as the entire devatas, all living entities situated within that one form. So that is the Vishwarupa Darshan. And then he shows how this Vishwarupa Darshan, you can also see the past, present, and future. So it begins to change into a fearsome form where the future is also shown. And then Arjuna is bewildered and he prays to the Lord. So very nice prayers of Arjuna throughout this chapter also, praying to the Supreme Lord. And then he asks Krishna, can you please reveal who you are? What's your mission? Your form is so fearful. And then Krishna will say, time I am, Kalo Asmi. And purpose, and this is the incarnation of the Lord in the form of time. So for the atheist, there is the Lord comes and in the form of time, and he destroys everything. And for the theist, the Lord comes in the form of the beautiful personality of Godhead. So one can choose in which way to accept, because everyone who takes birth in this material creation has to die one day. So either we accept it as time where we continues to take birth again and again, or we can receive death in the form of the Lord. So we gave the example of the lion carrying the cub. The lion uses the mouth to kill. So at the same time, the mouth is also used to carry the cub. So this is how the devotees receive death. They receive death with seeing the Lord. They see the Lord in everything. So that is, and this Vishwarupa Darshan, then after Arjuna's prayers, Krishna changes his form. So from this Vishwarupa Darshan, he takes the four-armed form of Narayana, and then finally he reveals the two-armed form of Krishna. And then he tells Arjuna, this form you're seeing, my two-armed form, is very special. It is not, it's very rare for you to see this. And this is therefore the Swayam Bhagavan Krishna, the original personality of Godhead in his original form. So the rest are all expansions. So from him, from Krishna's original position, Narayana is expanded for the purpose of creation. And when this Narayana, he will enter into this material creation. There are different Vishnus who will enter in different creations. We will hear more about this in level 2. And as he enters this material creation, it is all coming from the body of the Lord. So therefore, that particular Vishwarupa Darshan is shown ultimately in the end. So Krishna in this way shows the standard of Bhagavan. When we say God, this is what God means. It's not something cheap. It's not someone who can just produce some magic tricks or do some simple things and then they say they are God. So therefore, for the purpose of this, Krishna reveals Vishwarupa Darshan. And then finally, having convinced Arjuna and having satisfied Arjuna's desire so that others in the future can also be convinced, so then Krishna reveals in full this process of how one can attain him, and that is Bhakti Yoga. So Arjuna will ask, can you directly tell me which is the best process between Jnana and Bhakti? And Krishna will clearly give an answer. The Bhakti process will bring you to the ultimate goal, which is to go back to the spiritual abode. The other processes are merely a step towards Bhakti. So Bhakti, the supreme means and the end to attain Krishna. And from here, then we get the next 6 chapters. So this is basically the jewel, the secret, the ultimate secret of how we can end our cycle of birth and death in this material creation and eternally return to the kingdom of the Lord and serve the Lord over there. So one has to develop bhakti. Without bhakti, one cannot enter the kingdom of the Lord. Just like we do not take in stranger enemies into our family. So in the same way, if one is envious of the Lord, we do not want to take such people within our close inner circle. So therefore, the Antaranga Shakti doesn't accept unless one is infused with bhakti. So one has to develop this bhakti before one is able to enter the kingdom of God. So that's the purpose of this. So this is the goal. And the process of bhakti is given here. So Krishna will tell, if you cannot think of me always, then you need to do something which will make you think of me always. And what is that something? To take up this process of bhakti yoga, the regulative principles. Chant my name every day, offer your respect to me, worship me, offer everything that you do to me. So in this way, you will remember me. You will develop a desire to attain me. You will get purified and eventually you will remember me. Then Krishna says, if you cannot do that, if you cannot follow the regulative process of bhakti, then at least work for me. So dedicate everything for me. If you are not able to dedicate your time for chanting or worshipping or whatever, at least dedicate your results of your work. You're working, you're doing your activities, dedicate that for me. You are earning money, so therefore you can help with the temple, you can help with the worship of the Lord, you can help with the programs to give this Gita to others. So these are some of the things which you can do. So in this way, you purify the wealth that you earn, and you purify the karma which you are gaining. So, but if you can't do that also, if one does not, because in order to do that, one has to have faith in Krishna. One has to have some sort of goodwill. One cannot be envious. So then Krishna understands that in this world, there are also souls who are like that. So therefore he says, well, if you can't do that, then take the path of jnana. So at least in this way, you come eventually to bhakti. You are able to remove that envy. So that is basically Krishna's recommendation. And if you're going to do that way, Krishna says, then begin with karma yoga. You cannot start off straight away with renunciation, because that will cause havoc in society. People will all follow what you do, and they will all say, I don't want to work. I want to just go and simply do nothing. And actually they have become cheaters. So therefore, Krishna establishes that very clearly. You must begin. Tyaga is better than sannyas. The mentality of renunciation is more important than externally renouncing activities. So then after that, right, with bhakti, once one develops bhakti, then jnana or knowledge and detachment comes automatically. One doesn't have to develop knowledge, and one doesn't have to develop detachment. Simply by following the processes of bhakti, automatically jnana is revealed. Krishna will say in chapter 10, jnana deepena bhashvataha. Within I, sitting within their heart as Paramatma, will shine, remove their ignorance through the torchlight of knowledge. So I will reveal that. So Krishna will take care of this. So because the very process of bhakti includes shravanam, hearing. So in this way, as we hear more, we will understand more, and the Lord will work from within to improve our understanding and to give us the right answers that we need. Because Krishna says also, he will say, I will give that understanding by which one can return to me. So that is the advantage of the process of bhakti. So automatically knowledge will come, and at the same time, detachment also will come. Why? Because there is attachment to a higher taste. One develops higher taste. One has to eat. So when one takes up bhakti, one is attached to prasadam instead of eating something else. One has to speak. Well, if one takes up the process of bhakti, one becomes attached to speaking only about the Lord and his philosophies and his things, and doesn't take so much of interest in other things. So if one develops bhakti, one follows the process of bhakti, one is interested only in having relationships with the devotees of the Lord. So in this way, one focuses one's mind towards attaining the lotus feet of the Lord. About hearing and chanting the nama, rupa, guna, and leelas of the Lord. That becomes his desire and his goal. So his attachment shifts from material things to spiritual things. One becomes more and more enlivened to hear more and more about the Lord, to understand deeper and deeper about the pastimes of the Lord, how he behaves with the devotees, what are his interactions, what is his quality, what is his nature, what are his energies, how does he do this, how does he do that. So all this becomes part of bhakti. So because of attachment to these spiritual topics, one is easily able to let go attachment to material things. So it becomes naturally detached. So this is the nature of bhakti. So it comes automatically, and then one is able to shift into higher gear. So with bhakti, jnana and vairagya comes automatically. So now Krishna has already revealed the jewel. So now the remaining part of the chest is the lid. So the lid completes the picture. It's basically a completion to close this chest. So therefore, chapters 13 onwards are basically additional knowledge, where it gives the details on various aspects which have been discussed already. So for example, the three modes, they will talk about, material creation, how this material creation took place. So chapter 13 will start with Kshetra, the body, the nature of the body, how the soul interacts with the body, the subtle body, the gross body, and then how the elements separate. So, and then how the material creation takes place. And all of this is discussed in chapter 13. How everything in material creation is it's having the nature of the three modes: mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. So that is discussed in chapter 13. So here, this, and you can also see it as, earlier I said we are taking a journey. We are taking a journey. Chapters 1 to 6 opens up the journey for us, because before we even hear Gita, the journey is not started. One continues with one's life in a normal situation. But the moment Gita's knowledge is given, it opens up many aspects, things which we never thought about. Answers which we never have imagined would have been possible. Concepts which are completely new or completely different for us to understand. So it's like a journey, and therefore the compass was given, the direction for this journey leading us to a higher position was given. And then chapters 7 to 12 built us that ship. It gave us the ship for which we can take that journey very easily. Instead of climbing to the top of the mountain, we can take the ship, and by the grace of the Lord, we can just cross over this material ocean. So that is the process of bhakti already mentioned. So then now we are already on the journey. One who follows this process is already on the journey. The rest of it is details. So as we are taking this journey, we look out of the window, we see wondrous things as we cross over the universe. We see beautiful formations, clusters of stars. So all this is additional knowledge, which gives us further strength and further faith, and strengthens our convictions and deepens our understanding. So this is what chapters 13 onwards is all about. Prakriti. And so therefore, as we travel through, this is like a map. So compass, ship, and map. So the map, this is a detailed map where it tells us, where this star is, where here is, where is that. But we're not going all those places. We are just going from here straight to the center, which is the Lord. But it also shows everything else. So the details are revealed clearly. We are no longer in ignorance, because knowledge lights up the entire universe clearly for us to see. So then once we understand about the nature of material creation, prakriti, elements, the body and all that, then we get the understanding of how the jiva, how is the jiva trapped in this prakriti. So it is trapped in this prakriti by these three ropes. The three ropes are the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. In this way, he's trapped. And because he's trapped, right? So therefore, this chapter is called Guna Traya Vibhaga Yoga, the gunas, the three gunas. So this is described in detail. What is the definition of the mode of goodness, the definition of the mode of passion, the definition of the mode of ignorance. What are the characteristics of each of these modes? What do we get by doing things in these modes? What's the result? And at the time of death, what do we get when we are situated in these three modes? And at the end of all this, Krishna says, transcend these three modes. Don't worry about these three modes. You need to go beyond, right? We do not want to get trapped by this. So bhakti and knowledge will break free these three modes. So once we have this knowledge, right, we also want to know how the soul who is trapped by these three modes, he's caught by these three ropes. What does he do once he's caught by these three modes? So what he performs activities, karma. So these karma or activities trap him. So here the example of the banyan tree, the upside down banyan tree, how the jiva trapped with these three modes, put in illusion, is trying to search for happiness. So, and he's searching in so many ways. He thinks that performing this activity will give me this result, and this result will give me happiness. So this is his illusion. So in this way, he's endlessly searching, and it's very complex, this three modes of nature and karma. So this is described in chapter 15. So karma is born and the origin of the jiva. So all this discussed in chapter 15. And at the end of it, Krishna talks about himself again. Again, he tells Arjuna, right? So all this you have understood, but understand that all this comes from me. I am the ultimate benefactor of everything. So therefore, Purushottama Yoga, he will say, I am the one who is actually helping you even to enjoy yourself within this material creation. Without me, even this karma, even this body, nothing you will have. So Krishna is saying, so as Paramatma, I have come and I've expanded. So all this I'm with my consent, all these things are going through, adjusted by your karma. So it's not me who's making you suffer. It's not me who's making you go through your situations. You have put yourself in illusion and you have now got trapped in the three modes, and you are having your desires and you are continuing to do activities. And as you are performing these activities in illusion and ignorance, you do not realize what is right activity, what is wrong activity. In this way, you get trapped by sin and by piety. So, and in this way, you yourself have created your suffering. You yourself have created your enjoyment. I am simply watching you and I'm simply allowing what you desire, and according to your karma, you are experiencing them. So Krishna will make that very clear over here at this chapter. And then further, Krishna will talk about the conditioned souls. So having going through this situation, in being trapped in karma, being covered by illusion, busy in its various activities, the jiva basically falls into two categories. One is the and in both these categories are conditioned souls. So what is these two categories? One is daiva, divine nature, and the other is asura, demonic nature. So it is the consciousness. So we talked about this, the qualities of the demonic, the qualities of the divine, and how these are basically how the living entities are moving in this way. And what's the outcome of the demonic? Those with demonic qualities, what happens to them? So they open up the gates of hell by developing consciousness such as anger. It begins with lust. From lust frustrated leads to anger. Lust satisfied leads to greed. So in this way, it opens the three gates to hell, and one performs all kinds of activities just to get what he wants, to satisfy his lust. So therefore he goes on. And then how such a soul will be put at the lowest situation. He goes to the lower species of life, takes his birth amongst various lower species, after going through hell, then, lizard, insect, whatever, and then finally comes back again to human birth after many, many, many lifetimes, clearing away his karma, atoning for his sinful activities. He comes back to the human position of life and carries still, because there are millions of lives he has taken and the karma accumulated is very large. So therefore he gets a certain set of mind, he gets a certain set of body, a certain senses, and then he goes through this again. So if he is very fortunate to get this knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, it has the potency to change his life. And that if he decides to take action with that knowledge, he can change his life and in this way make an effort to stop birth and death, begin. And even a small atonement, even a small effort in this direction is not lost, because Arjuna will ask in chapter 2 itself, what happens to those who are not successful? Krishna will say, no loss. In this endeavor, you are only going to make progress. The moment you begin bhakti, guaranteed you're going to go back to Godhead. Whether in this life or in the next 100 lives or in the next 1,000 lives, it's up to you. But it's going to bring you back, because that seed is already planted, and therefore all you have to do is just one day nourish it. So that is basically the understanding. And then Krishna will talk further. Right, we have understood about the Devi and the Daiva and the Asura. Then Krishna will talk about fate. Arjuna will ask, okay, I know those who are demonic, they are going to go through these difficulties and everything. But what about those who are not demonic, but at the same time, they don't have faith in scripture. They don't have faith according to the word of God. They live their life whimsically according to what they think is right. So then Krishna says, well, these people fall into the category of, even the faith has three qualities. Good, it has goodness, passion, and ignorance. So according to these three modes, they have their faith in that direction. So but these faith in goodness, passion, or ignorance, they may pursue this faith, and according to this faith, they may get their results. But these results are all temporary and they're all material. They cannot actually bring you out of this cycle of birth and death. It is simply one worships the devatas because why? Because they want to enjoy material creation. So they say they worship, it's like a business deal. They go to the temple, they say, okay, I break this coconut, I do this puja, you ensure that I get a good result. You make sure that I'm victorious in this, or let me get good results in my exam, or let me have a good family, or let me get good marriage. So all this is material. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. At least they are doing it according to scripture and they are worshipping the devatas. That's fine. But it's not the goal of life. It will not bring you across the the continuous cycle of birth and death. And it does not save one from sin either, because the devatas cannot take away our sin. They can only grant what we desire according to the worship. So in this way, we also have to go through and pay the price of our sins. So that's the problem. So therefore, the Lord says, therefore, take to my worship. Whether it is material, whether it is something which is, material, that we want something for sense gratification, even then, come to me. Just like Dhruva Maharaj. So Dhruva Maharaj wanted something material, but simply by worshipping the Lord and asking him, the Lord will adjust our life in such a way that he will eventually give. Dhruva Maharaj got what he wanted in the end, but though in the end he didn't want that, he said, he became purified and he gets much more. So to worship the Supreme Lord, Vishnu or Krishna, one is able to get what one wants. At the same time, one is able to get purified and go back to Godhead. So, but at the same time, the Lord doesn't necessarily give whatever that we want. So that's one thing about the Lord. He will only give what is good for us so that we will not be further illusioned. So if we ask for something which is not going to be good for us, the Lord will adjust accordingly. So that is a point to understand. But still, one who is taking the path of bhakti must become chaste. He must be fully surrendered to the Lord. That means no surrender. That means it's one pointed direction, one pointed faith towards the Supreme Lord and no one else. That's why the Muslims say, Allahu Akbar. What does that mean? God is great. And then they will also continue saying, and no one else is God other than you. So they know him as God, Allah, but this same Allah who is not revealed is actually the Supreme Lord himself, who reveals himself in the scriptures. We'll talk more about the other religions and all that in level 2 to understand better how to synthesize, how to understand these concepts better. So anyway, we are coming towards the chapter 17. And then finally, Krishna will say, okay, so therefore, don't just go to material things. This faith in the three modes is material. It's not going to lead us to moksha or liberation. So then in chapter 18, he talks about the three modes which lead one to moksha eventually. So he talks about renunciation. And then this is the secret of action, how to act in such a way, bring ourselves to the mode of goodness. From the mode of goodness, we can come to the level of moksha. So that is talking about the long path, the jnana path. So at the end, Krishna will say, don't worry about all this, action in the three modes, determination in the three modes, activity in the three modes, happiness in the three modes. All this was discussed in chapter 18. And ultimately, the point was, we should elevate ourselves to the mode of goodness. And then get situated in that, we can work towards liberation. But Krishna in the end will say, but it's very difficult. So not everybody is in that situation. So therefore, I established this Varnashram system. Because in this human life, not everybody is in the mode of goodness. It's difficult for everybody to come to the mode of goodness. Their birth nature is like that. So therefore, I created these three modes. I created this Varnashram system. This Varnashram system is meant in such a way that it actually because it's guided by the Brahmanas who are in the mode of goodness, and the Kshatriyas who are directly under the Brahmanas advice. They work according to the Brahmanas advice. They rule the kingdom and everything. So the entire society is working towards the supreme. So it's like a boat. Not everybody can be a captain in a boat. The captain is the Brahmana, and the Kshatriyas are like the people in the boat who are commanding, okay, you do this, you do that, you do that. The Brahmana knows which direction to go. And there are Vaishyas and all that, and the Shudras are like the people who row the boat. So though the Shudras may not know what to do, what is right and what is wrong, because they are not in the mode of goodness, but because they are within the Varnashram system, the social system is such that they are protected and guided by the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas. Society has a goal and direction. So therefore, all of them benefit, because when the boat reaches the shore, everybody gets down. Not only the Brahmana gets out, the Shudras also get out, because the Shudras have served the Brahmanas, they have served the Vaishnavas, and this way they have attained the goal. So by faithfully serving the goal of the Supreme, they are able to attain the Supreme also, because they take advice, they take instructions given by the Brahmanas. So therefore, that was how it was done, where the entire society can take advantage of it. But in Kali Yuga, that is no longer there, the Varnashram system. Nevertheless, one can take to good counsel. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita is given. The Parampara system is still there, and the sannyasis and the gurus are still there who are in the mode of goodness, and they are able to give us instruction. So if one takes a guru, so we are still guided towards that goal. So the guru becomes the captain of the ship. We sit in that ship, and simply by following the instructions of the guru, which is based according to Shastra, that way we will also reach the destination. We will cross over this ocean of birth and death, and the wind which blows will be Krishna. He will blow the favorable wind to help us cross over this material ocean. So that is chapter 18. And ultimately, Krishna concludes. After talking about all these things, he will conclude again the ultimate goal. He will talk about the Brahman realization. That is the goal of all existence, to attain the Supreme. And the Supreme can be realized in three levels. The first is the Brahma Jyoti, and then Paramatma, and finally the highest and the shelter of all these others is the Bhagavan realization, to attain the Supreme Lord. So these two are merely steps. In Brahman, one is free from misery, but one has not developed bhakti yet. In Paramatma, one realizes there is a source towards this Brahman. One realizes the personal feature of the Lord, and one begins to fall in love with the Lord at this point. From dhyana, he switches to bhakti. And Bhagavan, this is when one has already completely accepted bhakti, and this is the highest realization. This is where one can constantly remain with the Lord. And Krishna reveals himself as that position of Bhagavan. And surrender to Krishna is the param dharma, the ultimate dharma. We may have different dharmas. People will say, I'm very busy in my life. I got no time for bhakti. I got no time for this. I got no time for that. I have my commitments to society and everything. Yes, we can continue all these things, but we also have to understand we have param dharma. If we were to die suddenly today, what is going to happen to us? So we have to begin. Life is short. We do not know when anything might happen, right? So that's the point. So therefore, we can include, and it's not difficult to include bhakti within our day-to-day life also. So that's the beauty of bhakti. We have to eat. So eat prasadam. We have to do some small thing, simple activity. We can spend 30 minutes in our day to worship the Lord or to chant the names of the Lord. To chant 4 rounds with the beads will only take 30 minutes. That we can do daily as a promise, as a commitment, as a sincerity for the Lord. And this is beginning the path of bhakti. That is already very wonderful. To read the Gita, to begin to understand this knowledge of the Gita, that's another example, steps of bhakti. So in this way, there are ways we can take to bhakti. And after this, Krishna asks Arjuna, very nice, have you heard carefully? So whatever that I have told you in this Bhagavad Gita, all these points, so he's asking Krishna, Arjuna, have you heard carefully? So it's very important. One has to give full attention. One has to be serious in trying to understand. One can start, it takes sometimes, some people, they become very serious very quickly. Some people, they may have to go through several times, and then eventually they will be able to come to this point also. So chanting the names of the Lord helps us to come to this point faster. So Krishna will ask, have you heard carefully? And now then he will ask Arjuna, after you're hearing carefully, what do you need to do? Deliberate fully. So let it not go to waste. Whatever that we have heard in the Gita, think about them. So that would mean to also, go back, refer back the notes, hear back the sessions again. If we have doubts, we should not leave this course with doubts. If we have any doubts of anything, raise the questions, and we will try to point out this, whatever doubts that we may have. So therefore, Krishna says, deliberate fully. And after deliberating fully, then what do we do? Krishna says, now do as you please. So here again, he gives the free will. So I am not going to force you, Krishna tells Arjuna. So it's up to you. I've given you the full knowledge. I've given you what's happening. I've given you the real situation of what is happening. So if you feel that this world is a wonderful place and everything is wonderful, then go ahead, do what you need to do and go on. But if you have understood the real situation of this world, which is dukkhalayam ashashvatam, which is temporary and a place full of misery. What kind of misery? The four miseries, which are birth, old age, disease, and death, and subjected to the three kleshas or miseries, which are miseries due to other living entities, miseries due to our own body and our own mind, and miseries due to the karma, the law of karma, which is the devatas. So if we are tired of this, then if you have come to this full realization, then we can take this process of bhakti or the yoga process, which is given in this Bhagavad Gita. So therefore, Krishna then, but he doesn't stop there. Krishna is so, he wants us to come back to him. So after saying this, he doesn't stop there. He goes on. This is Krishna. He wants us to come back to him. So therefore, he again starts to tell Arjuna. So please understand that, take up this bhakti. Krishna will again tell, give up this everything. Surrender him to me. Sarva dharmam parityagya. Mam ekam sharanam raja. He will say, become my devotee. Mat bhakta, mat chitta. Think of me, become my devotee, offer your obeisances to me. And then surrender everything. Don't worry about other dharmas. If you can do this, then I guarantee you, I promise you, you will definitely end this cycle of birth and death, and you'll come back to me. So it's a matter of how much we can develop this faith, and we can bring this and bring this into our life. After that, Krishna will go on to say, Gita, I have now spoken all this. So now you need to tell others. So therefore, one who explains this to others is very dear. So like that, he goes on. So the message here is basically, have you heard carefully? Hear Gita, deliberate carefully, and do and act accordingly. So live Gita. We should learn to live the instructions of the Gita, and we can give this Gita to others. So this is what we can do. And in this way, this itself is devotion. And one who does this, Krishna says, Sanjaya says at the end of Gita, one gets everything. Shrir, opulence, Vijayo, victory, Bhutir, and Dhruva Nitir. So one gets understanding and intelligence, and one is able to get all dharma. This is morality. All dharma is attained. So in this way, one is able to attain, right? Certainly, dhruva means certainly one is able to attain this. So this is basically what Bhagavad Gita is all about. So we have completed the overview. So I hope that was helpful in understanding the message of the Gita. So this is what the message is all about. And now what we can do is we can reflect further. We can go through, we can study the, basically we can reflect. That means go through the Bhagavad Gita again. So sometimes it takes many times, like I've read it many times. So after reading, each time I read, I realize, my goodness, I didn't realize this. Second time I go through it, oh, how did I miss this? Third time, why didn't I realize this earlier? Fifth time, so like that, you know, each time we read it again, it increases our understanding and increases our reflection. So we can reflect and we can share it. So level 2 is for that, for further reflection and also for further practical application. Right, so now it is 9:15. I'll just mention a little bit about level 2. So level 2 is, as I posted also in the thing, it's mainly as to continue. So if those of you who are happy to have this kind of sessions where we can speak more about the philosophy of the Gita. So in level 2, what I would be doing is that we will go through the Gita points again, but this time you can start reading, because we will have only once a week class. So we will tell you what parts to read in the Bhagavad Gita as it is. So you need to get that Bhagavad Gita as it is book, and then read those sections and try to understand the points that we have, that you read. Any doubts, anything that we are not clear about, anything that you like to ask, note it down and we can discuss it during our sessions. At the same time, I will also give a story. This is from the Padma Purana, which is glorifying each chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So a story which encapsulate the main points also. So, and we can learn what are the things we can learn practically from those stories. And in this way, we will go through the chapter by chapter like that. And at the same time, you are also reading those books, the Bhagavad Gita, and in a detailed way, and we can clarify any issues. And at the same time, we will talk about practical aspects, how to practically follow this bhakti in our spiritual life, or this devotional service in our life, in our day-to-day life. We don't have to be sannyasis, you know, we can all be part of this family life and everything, student life, family life, any life. We can include this devotional practice in our life. How to offer food to the Lord, how we can, you know, in this way we can, there are many things which we can do. And at the same time, we will also have, to have some difference, we will also have special sessions. So if there were anything or any issues which were not fully cleared in the Gita, if there were any questions which you feel is not fully answered, we can go through these in level 2 in more detail. Like for example, I will have some topics, like I already mentioned some of these topics. We'll talk about the law of karma, and then we will talk about you know, various things. So this will be giving us a further understanding about the nature of the Lord, but mainly we will be going into devotional service in detail. So that is level 2 all about. So before that, can we just stop at this point? We take a pause and we can open up to questions, or anyone wants to share anything. How do you feel about this course after you have gone through this entire 18 chapters?
Ganesh here.
Yes,
just a query. Earlier you had mentioned a few chapters ago, you mentioned about the Padma Purana and Bhavishya Purana. Are these separate books, or are they one book but different chapters?
Separate
and who are the
books.
authors of them?
They are the separate books. They are separate books, Prabhu. As for the author, I'm not exactly sure. I have to check. Basically, they are sages, and it's part of the Vedic scriptures called Smriti. So, and these sages are before, during the times of Vyasadeva and all that. So some are like Markandeya Rishi is a sage, or the Vashishta is another sage. So like that, Vyasa. Some of it is written. Some of the Puranas are written by Vyasa, but they are also captured and they are accepted as part of the Vedas, Vedic understanding, Vedic literatures.
So they were written before the Bhagavad Gita.
Some of them were.
Thanks.
Okay. Anything else? How do you feel, Ganesh Prabhu, from this course? Everything okay with you?
Well, there are a lot of what do you call it? Things that I feel that are not very clear. Okay, for example, in chapter 18.30, you mentioned about goodness, and we are supposed to know this. Those who are very bhakti are supposed to know what is right and what is wrong. So the question is, I'm based on the Mahabharata I read through the Amar Chitra series. It says when the brothers went to see their mother Kunti, and said that, "Ma, look, we have brought something," and the mother says, "Share it among yourself." Share it among yourselves, like what you normally do. And they brought along Draupadi, so it means that they are supposed to share Draupadi. So how can it be possible that this is the right thing to do, sharing a wife?
Okay, thank you for that. All right, so okay, that is basically details on stories. Like you see, when we are hearing Leelas, stories from the scripture, Purana, we have to understand that there is a lot of hidden things which we do not know yet. So basically, the first rule is we have to first of all, take it that this is revealed truth. And with that faith, we have to go on. There are answers, like for example, in the past life, Draupadi was actually, she was praying to the Lord. Actually, she was worshipping Shiva and she was praying, and then she wanted a husband. So this story says that this is from one of the Puranas. So in her eagerness, she did a lot of austerities, and when Lord Shiva finally came, she was saying, "I want a husband. I want a husband." She said it 5 times. So when she said it 5 times, Lord Shiva says, "Tatastu, you will get 5 husbands in your next life." So then the person who was Draupadi in her previous life, she was aghast. How can I have 5 husbands? That is immoral. And then Lord Shiva said, "Excuse me, whatever I say cannot be immoral. What I say becomes morality itself. So it's not possible for one of my boons to make it immoral for you. So therefore, in this way, I assure you, no sin will touch you." So then, therefore, Draupadi had, when she came in her next life, she had 5 husbands. But there is even a bigger story behind that. There is a story saying that actually, when Kunti Maharani invoked the Devatas to have their children, Yudhishthira Maharaj and all that, the story I just, in fact, a few weeks ago, I read it. This is from one of the Puranas. So it says that there was once Indra was cursed. He had a lot of powers. Indra is the god of heaven and all. He was cursed due to his disrespect of his guru, Brihaspati. So because of this, he lost some of his powers. And these powers, Indra potency, they went and they were distributed amongst some of the other devatas. Not all of them, but the ones who it was distributed to was Yamaraj, to Pavan, the Vayu Dev, the god of wind, and to the Ashwini Kumaras. So this potency or the tejas of Indra came to these people. And when Kunti Maharani invoked these and Surya, sorry, not Surya. Surya was only involved. So when Kunti Maharani invoked the Devatas to get the children, Yudhishthira Maharaj was born from Yamaraj, So in many places, it's also said that Yudhishthira is an incarnation of Yamaraj. But still, Yamaraj was there, and it was the potency of this Yamaraj, the potency which Yamaraj received from Indra, that which he passed into Yudhishthira Maharaj. So Yudhishthira Maharaj, you could say, though he is son of Yamaraj, he is actually the potency of Indra himself. So in this way, all five Pandavas are actually potency of Indra, you could say. So in that sense, Draupadi marrying the five potencies of Indra, because Draupadi in her previous life, actually, she is Sachi Devi. She is the wife of Indra. So therefore, there was no sin in Draupadi's marrying these five. So we have to have that faith that what we hear from scripture is ultimately true. We may not have all the answers immediately. Not many people would be able to tell you the story that I just told you. So I myself, only after 20 years being in the movement, I've only heard it recently. So like that, the scriptures are vast. There are hundreds. Mahabharata itself is 100,000 verses. Reading abridged versions will not give us the full information. But we have to have the faith that whatever we read is accepted. This is Dharma. And we have to ask the Lord, we have to pray to the Lord, can you reveal further about this knowledge? So in this way, the Lord will find a way to reveal this knowledge to us. We will find some people. It may take years. One day we may find someone who may be able to tell us further details about something, because we are not, have we read the scriptures? Have we read everything? So if we have not read everything, then we need to hold judgment. We have to approach it with faith. And in this way, one can develop understanding. So this is for this particular story that you just mentioned, this is the understanding that I have. And therefore, it is not sinful. So there is a reason behind. So therefore, in any story also, Puranic stories and all that, we have to understand that there are always reasons behind them. It is not whimsical. So we are conditioned according to our conditioning of what is right and what is wrong. We give judgment. So, but we do not know. Firstly, it's a different age, it's a different dharma, it's a different situation. So what is important is we need to learn the lessons behind it. So, and these lessons need to be explained from parampara. So when we hear it through parampara, we will actually hear the real lessons. So that's one of the problems, sometimes, like things like Amar Chitra Katha and other things, they don't come from parampara. They simply take the scriptures and they just put the things. And sometimes we do not know, we get confused and we may lose faith and we may say, so it's best, scripture should not be read alone. It has to be read based on parampara's guidance, on guru's guidance. Then we will not go astray. Then we will not get wrong conclusions. Then we will not end up with having our faith diminished or questioning it. So these are all very detrimental. So this is the right way to do it. So, so that's the idea behind it. Okay, Ganesh Prabhuji, I hope that helps.
Yeah, okay. I look forward to level 2.
Okay, thank you for that. So one of the ways we can develop faith is we can begin chanting these names of the Lord. That will help us to develop the right mood and the right understanding, understanding in the mode of goodness. There is also understanding in the mode of 3 modes. So getting the knowledge is one thing. How we get the knowledge is in the 3 modes. The understanding which we receive from that knowledge is also in the 3 modes. So by the grace of the Lord, so that's why we depend on the grace of the Lord. Okay, so before we end, anyone else wants to share anything? I've not heard from any Matajis. I only hear from Prabhus. I hope it's okay. So I also have the feedback form. So please do fill in the feedback form. I only had 8 responses so far out of 35 people who are in this group. So it will be very helpful to hear how you find it. And I'd also like to know how many would be interested to going to level 2, because we need to see how much we can commit in our time and all that based on the number who are joining, or otherwise we may have to mix the groups. So that would be helpful if you can also do that. If you can't click the link, let me know, or at least WhatsApp me, so then I'm able to help you on that. All right, so before we end, I wanted to talk about Damodar Leela. So, opportunities of Seva, we have a very wonderful month coming ahead. Probably you've heard of it. We have been publicizing this for the last few years already. More than 5 years we've been publicizing in TV and all that. So this is the month of Kartik, also known as Damodara month. So you've heard of Kartik month. It's a very, very popular month. It's the holiest month amongst Vaishnavas. We see it as the holiest month of the year. And it's beginning in 21st of October. Actually, that is Wednesday. Today is Tuesday, Thursday. Sorry, I'll just mute you for a while, Mataji. Okay, so this is 21st to 19th. So what happens on this day? Very simple. We need to offer a lamp to this picture of Lord Damodar, baby Krishna. So this is the story behind. I won't talk about the story today. I'm just wanting to create the awareness about this Damodar month today. So here are some verses. Glories of Kartik. Charity, yagya, japa, austerity performed in the month of Kartik bring a result. O best of Brahmanas, that will never be destroyed. So these things which you can do during this month. One who during the month of Kartik gives a small gift to Lord Vishnu attains a result that will never be destroyed. It's from the Skanda Purana. O Narada, I have personally seen that a person who happily reads Gita during the month of Kartik does not return to the world of birth and death. And then of the 12 months, Kartik is the most dear to Krishna. Anyone who even slightly worships the Lord during this time, the month of Kartik gives residence to the Lord's transcendental abode. So just like the Gita, like we have many ways one can easily get the benefit of pleasing the Lord. So one of it is this Kartik month. So this Kartik month is like a sale. We can do this daily, but on this Kartik month is like a boost. Anything which we do, the scripture says, the potencies get 1,000 times magnified. So he says here, Kartik is the best, the purest of purifiers, the glorious of all months. It's particularly dear to Krishna. Is full of bhakta vatsalya, that means mercy of bhakti. Any rata means austerity, even the smallest will yield huge results. So if we can take up devotional practice starting from the month of Kartik, it will be very wonderful. 1,000 times the benefit we will get. The effect of performing Kartik Vrata lasts for 100 lifetimes, whereas ordinary Vratas only last for 1 lifetime. And then from the Skanda Purana, this I already mentioned, just like how Satya Yuga is the greatest Yuga, no other scripture equal to the Vedas, there is no other place of pilgrimage equal to Ganga. Therefore, the month of Kartik is very dear to Vaishnavas. So what do we do in this month of Kartik? Before that, more from the Skanda Purana. So this is what we can do during the month of Kartik, this Damodar month. One offers a lamp during the month of Kartik. His sins of many thousands and millions of births perish in half an eye blink. Even if there is no mantra, no pious deeds, and no purity, everything becomes perfect when a person offers a lamp during the month of Kartik. A person who during the month of Kartik offers a lamp to Keshava has already performed all the yagyas, sacrifice, and bathing in all the holy rivers. So one gets that kind of benefit. No sin exists anywhere in the 3 worlds that will not be purified by offering a lamp to Lord Keshava. So very simple, what we need to do during this month, we take this picture. I will send it later in the WhatsApp, or if you have it, or you can come to our temple and we can get this picture, or we can also order it online. Let me know, I can help you. So we have this picture of the Lord, this special picture where Krishna is being tied by Mother Yashoda to this wooden grinding mortar. How the Supreme Lord, the one who showed his Virat Rupa to Arjuna, the universal form, this personality is being tied by Mother Yashoda to a grinding mortar. So this is glorification of this pastime. We will talk about this pastime in level 2. It will be during the Deepavali month, right? Starting, that's where Deepavali is one of the reasons behind it. So from 19th of November till the 21st, 19th of October till the 21st of November is this month, where Deepavali is one of the celebrations during this month. So if we can show lamp to this Lord, so what we do is very simple. We just light a lamp, a ghee lamp, like this, agar velakku, like that. You don't have to put a lot of ghee. If you can, you can. If ghee is a problem, then you can also use nallane, sesame oil. That is also acceptable. And just show it around the Lord. How to show? 4 times around the feet, 2 times around the belly, and 3 times around the face, and 7 times around the entire form of the Lord. So we can do this while ringing a bell. So in this way, and we can chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra while ringing this and singing this. So if we can do this every day and get all our family and friends to do it, if we get other people to do it, we get also half of that that benefit. Each person who does it because we told them to do, we get half their benefit. It's not that the other person loses it; they also get full benefit, but we also get double. We are getting some aspect of it, like MLM, so like that. So a person who during the month of Kartik offers a lamb to Keshava has, okay, I mentioned this already. The ancestors say when someone in our family pleases Lord Keshava by offering him a lamp during the month of Kartik, then by the mercy of the Lord who holds the Sudarshan Chakra in his hand, we will all attain liberation. So this is the benefit, so many wonderful benefits which we can get. It's like a very wonderful sale month where the Lord becomes extra merciful and very easily he's awarding bhakti, very easily he's awarding all these things, just so that one can get this sukruti, this agyata sukruti, by which one can perform bhakti. So a person, to one who either at home or in a temple offers a lamp during the month of Kartik to Lord Vasudeva, gives great result. A person who offers a lamp to Damodar during Kartik attains the eternal spiritual world where there is no suffering. So these are some of these points which I'm telling to help us to get motivated to do this. Every day we can do this. And this is the picture. So in this way, we can either use this lamp, or if it's difficult, we should use a fresh lamp, by the way. So if the lamp is already used, we should discard it. So therefore, we need to use fresh lamps. So if that is a problem, we can also use sticks like this. We can take a satay stick like that, or we can, and then put some cotton around the end of it and with little bit of ghee. And then in this way, we can form a wick. So then we can also use this and then show to the Lord, like how I mentioned, 4 times around the feet, 2 times around the belly, 3 times around the face, and 7 times around the whole picture. So in this way, we can offer, and the stick, you can just put it in your flower pot, outside, and then you can discard it once it burns off. So that is, and this ghee lamp, if you use the clay lamp, you can keep it or you can throw it away after you use it, but you can't reuse it back to offer to the Lord. But what you can do, you can use it to decorate the house and things like that, or recycle. So these are the glories of the month of Damodar. So what we can do, we can show the lamp for the Lord. We can chant, increase our japa, our chanting, right? We can start chanting if those of us who have not started. If we have started, we can increase it to 2 rounds, 3 rounds, 4 rounds, 10 rounds, whatever. It's very, very wonderful time to do it. Worship of the Lord specifically, great time for people to become vegetarian if they are not already. If they are vegetarian, then great time for them to start offering, giving prasadam, giving bhoga. Bhoga is what is given to the Lord. Prasadam is what we take from the Lord. So, and a wonderful time to worship Tulasi. Any bhakti activities we can do during this month yields great benefit. We will talk more about these things in level 2, the different bhakti activities. There is also a song we can sing to Damodar. This is called the Damodara Mashtaka. This is from the Padma Purana, coming from the Padma Purana, these verses. We can sing these verses. The translation is here. I will send all these things later on in the WhatsApp tomorrow, and with the video also, with the song on how to sing. Very simple tune. We can sing this song also. We can have house programs. So some of us, the devotees, we like to host house programs. We invite people. Now it's COVID and all that. But before, we used to have house programs where public can come and they can show this lamp, and we can have prasadam, we can sing bhajans, we can sing this song. And in this way, we can derive great benefit. So that is on Damodar, right? So more details will come in the WhatsApp. And some of you have also asked about seva opportunities. How can we do more seva? So there is something which I'm suggesting. There's something called Shastra Dan. So we can buy Gita and give Gita to people. It's the best, actually. It's the best thing we can do for another person. Giving Bhagavad Gita to them, or getting it donated to worthy people, or we can also give Bhagavatam, so like that. So, or we can do it for you. So if you'd like to sponsor a Bhagavad Gita, we can distribute Bhagavad Gita. So there are people who have done it. They distribute it to people who can't afford, and to orphanages and to schools, to libraries. We like to do that. So this is the scheme. If you were to buy one Gita, it is RM35. Anything less than 10, RM35. If you want to buy more than 10 Gita to distribute, then it becomes cheaper, RM30. If you want to buy the Srimad Bhagavatam, this is 18 volumes of the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the masterpiece of Srila Prabhupada. And it's about 1,200 per set of this. You can keep this in your house. You can give it for others, up to you. And okay, that's on the seva. And if you like to buy this Gita set for yourself, also, if you don't have a Bhagavad Gita as it is already, you can buy it 35 ringgit just now, as I mentioned, or you can buy it in this set. If you buy the set, the Gita is a bit cheaper, is discounted. This is inclusive of postage, delivery fee. So you get a Gita, you also get chanting beads, which you can use to start chanting. So this 56 ringgit one is using neem wood. Tulasi wood is the best. For Tulasi, it's RM 90 ringgit. But this is the bag package. You get the bag where you can use the beads with, and 2 other books, and this picture of Damodar, which you will get automatically with the Gita set. So even if you already have a Gita, you can buy this kit and you can use this Gita to give it to others if you like. So this is, you can let me know if you want, or you can just use this link, or you can use from Shopee. So it's up to you how you want to do it. I've sent the link of how to get it up. All right, so we are done already. Thank you so much. We have completed our 18 plus 1 days of Bhagavad Gita. Thank you so much for your time. And we hope to look forward to you, to see more of you in the next level. If this is the end of the road for some of us, then I'm still happy that all of us are able to meet. And anytime that you have anything you'd like to ask me, feel free. Don't feel hesitant. I'm happy to receive any message or any kind of questions that you may have. I will respond. Sometimes, I may not be able to respond immediately. I'll try to respond within 24 hours, but definitely I will respond. So if there are any questions you'd like to ask, anything at all, if you have anything personal, any inquiries on Gita or any of these points, I'm happy to serve. Even if you're not following level 2, it doesn't matter. You can still be part of the group, even if you're not following. Occasionally, you can join in if you like. If you like to leave the group, that's also fine. But don't leave first, because we are going to have a graduation ceremony towards I'm not sure, it's either this week or next week. I'm not sure. I'll let you know where you will be getting the certs. And that is especially if you have filled in the quiz, then you can get the certs. So it's all I have to say. 350 hours, I think, I have spent in this 18 hours talking. My voice is hoarse a bit. So I hope it has been beneficial. Please accept my apologies if there is anything which I've said which is not sitting well or anything, but it's all in good grace. And I hope that it is pleasing to the Lord and to all of you as well.
Prabhu,
yes.
This is Vijay here. I just want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to join you this journey. In fact, I was introduced to this Gita class by Dr. Prashant from Penang. So I find a lot of benefit. This is the first time I've enrolled in this kind of discourse, which I find it very intellectually stimulating. And it also opens a lot of Pandora box. Like many questions that in current social media we are hearing the publicly discussed about status of religions and a lot of questions which I think I'm sure will be addressed in the future. I'm very pleased to have learned a lot of things, and I'm looking forward to your level 2. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for that kind words. Anyone wants to say anything else?
Prabhu, this is Rajan here again, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Rajan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So I really like to take this opportunity to thank you for I must say, a wonderful job that you have done for the 18 hours. And you have shown, I think, great patience, calmness, and even politeness. And I'm rather awed by your boundless knowledge of the subject. I think you were able to tackle every question rather well. For me personally, I think this has been a very good journey. It has opened a door only to realize there are so many other doors. It is actually a situation for me where I find there are more questions, which of course, eventually I'll get them answered. So I think it's time for search and research that has now begun for me personally. So again, I'd like to thank you very much for your even your stamina. I mean, it's quite wondrous to me. For us just to listen is already quite tiring, but you're an active participation, and I thank you so much for that.
Okay, thank you so much for that. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. By the mercy of Guru, somehow I'm able to do this. But yeah, thanks for all this. Anyone else want to say anything? Don't have to be. Yes, Mataji.
Prabhu, thank you so much. You're a real instrument of God. I'm very happy to hear all this. That's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Actually, I should thank all of you because you have been so patient. It's easy for my time to pass when I'm talking. I don't realize time is passing when I'm talking, but you have been hearing, so it's much harder. Right.
Prabhu,
right. Yes.
Once more, I would like to say you are a real, true instrument of God.
Thank you. We are all instruments of God. We can take that role if you want to. And I'm just trying. We can all do this. So Gita is there, is for all of us, and we can take it up seriously. So with level 2, we can speak more on this, Mataji. So much of journey to go. And now once the COVID restrictions are lifted, we can come to the temple. If you're staying somewhere near, the temple is in Old Klang Road. I'm staying in Shah Alam, but I travel still. It's about 37 kilometers once a week. So we can meet there also, all of us, one day. And if things open up and all, we can probably again meet elsewhere. We can meet at the home. We can have a program. So hope to meet all of you in person. I've not seen any of your pictures though. Do you think we can take a snapshot with all the, I'll stop sharing. So we can just open up our videos maybe, and then I'll just take a snapshot. Hare Krishna, I'm seeing all of you. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. If you can't open up your videos, I can understand. Probably you're not. Hare Krishna, Ganesh Prabhu, I'm seeing you finally. Nice to see all of you. Rajan Prabhu, I've seen your photo in your WhatsApp. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Anyone from Shalam or nearby?
I'm from Kedah, Prabhu.
Oh, Kedah. Okay. Nice. Okay. So great. So I'll just hold on a moment. I'll just take a snapshot. This is just, for our memories. Print screen. Okay. And Madam Indra, so I'm seeing you as well, Mataji.
Seramban.
Seramban, huh? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Ganesh is your relative, is it?
My brother.
Oh, brother, okay, okay.
And I'm glad he encouraged me to join these classes. It's an eye opener.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, Mataji. Hope to get to know all of you. So maybe I should just tell a bit about myself also. Well, I came to international. Basically, I studied in like I'm from Ipoh actually, and Penang and Ipoh. My father's side is Penang. My mother's side is Ipoh. And then my father died when I was very young, 9 years old. So then my mother was a single lady, and then she was trying to be pious. She was pious, but it was not an easy life. And generally, she tried to bring me up in spirituality. My mother herself was a vegetarian. She'll ask me to be vegetarian, but I will not. I don't like it. And then I used to tell, you don't tell me. Why should I be? So I needed answers. And growing up, it's difficult with association, school friends and all that. So and anyway, once finally I went to university, I entered University Malaya. And then in University Malaya, I had this fortune to meet this brahmachari. He used to come to the engineering faculty and he used to give classes there. So somehow my friends brought me there, and after I heard from them, he was able to answer all of my questions. So before that, I believed in God, I accepted God, but still I was agnostic. I couldn't really accept Hinduism. I couldn't really accept religion. I was more of a believer of science. I sort of, like to follow whatever science was. I was a science student. I entered engineering. And then, but after that, but he was able to answer all my questions, just like it was like a revelation for me from the Bhagavad Gita. It's like I really wanted to hear more and more, and that began my journey. And then he gave me some books to read, Bhagavad Gita, teachings of Lord Chaitanya, and it just started from there. So and then that was in year 1997, and then from then onwards, I got married. My wife was also a devotee, so that really helped in my family to have a family who's Krishna conscious. And then in this way, we were able to. So along the road down, then I got married. Then I got initiated. I accepted a guru. My Guru Maharaj is the one that you see in my background. Bhakti, His Holiness Bhakti Vigna Vinasha Narasingha Maharaj. And he's a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. So in this way, then yeah, life goes on. Even as a married person, I had 2 children. I had actually 3 children. One child actually passed away when he was 6 months old. So a lot of realizations I was able to get from this, and it was very, very eye-opening to me as well. And it convinced me of a lot of matters, not just the situation itself, but it made me look more. It made me search further and further. And in the end, I would say I got all the answers that I ever wanted in my life. And that made a big difference to me. So I'm hoping that it will also begin the journey for all of you. Maybe some of you have already taken the journey, and this is just an additional thing for me. All I'm saying is have faith that maybe not all the answers may come to us immediately. God is certainly there, and Krishna is certainly there to help us. Just have faith and have patience. And if we are sincere, if we take up even a little bit of effort towards the Lord, He will guide us towards Him very easily. So this is just my realization on this matter. So it's difficult. I mean, we do have our busy schedule and all. So myself, I work as an associate professor. I teach engineering and basically this research and all that and going on. It's very busy. And most of these presentations I prepared. And but this is not the first time. This is basically the 3rd time I'm doing it. We just started it during the COVID. It gave me some opportunity to do these things. And we had this program as well. So it's a life-changing situation. I hope all of you benefit from this. And thank you so much for your time and effort and your patience and hearing. I'm very, very indebted to all of you, actually. So hopefully we can take it further. So yeah, that's basically a brief introduction on myself.
Prabhu, if you don't mind me asking, Prabhu, which university are you from? I mean, you're lecturing at the moment, your associate professorship.
Oh, Harriet Ward University. It's in Putrajaya.
Oh, Harriet.
The British University.
Putrajaya.
Yeah.
Okay. And which part of Ipoh do you come from, Prabhu? Because I'm from Ipoh.
Oh, really? Well,
Yes.
My mother's living in Gunung Rapat, and basically
Okay.
I have my family there. So a lot of them, if you might know, Mr. Karupaya, he's from Sungai Pari, and like that, there are a few people.
Nice.
Yeah. Did you go to Sungai Pari?
My uncle lives there. I went to ACS.
Oh, my husband taught in Sungai Pari Boys School.
Oh, okay. That school is just right in front of my uncle's house.
We were staying in Canning Gardens.
Oh, my uncle, my Peripa is in Canning Gardens. I go there during Deepavali.
And we are, Ganesh, myself, we are from Penang actually.
Small world. Huh? My father is from Penang. I was born in Penang. So nice. Good. So we'll meet each other more. So right. So I don't want to take more of your
hopefully
time.
One day.
Yes.
Maybe one day we can make an appointment and then we can come to the temple in KL.
Yep. Sure.
Maybe after this Kartik, is it?
Well, we'll have to see about the COVID and all that. So right now the temple is open, but there's no program. They only have darshan. You can take darshan and then there is prasad. You can take the prasadam and then you can leave like that. The shop is open also, but the Sunday feast program is not there. Usually before COVID, there's a full-fledged program where there's class, there is interaction, there are things going on. So then we can really have association. This one, but anyway, as you say, we can certainly we can meet one day and we can talk. Also, if you happen to drop by in Shah Alam, let me know. You can come to my house. You're welcome. Okay, so if there's nothing further, we can catch up further.
Okay.
So thank you. I'll see you all. Okay. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Jai Bhagavad Gita.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.